Today on Play to Win, our pigskin prognosticator Jeffrey is off, but we have his picks. We talk Jameis and Gurley, plus injury updates, fantasy football, and ready for it, the world's youngest sportscaster. Play to Win is being brought to you by the Southeastern Nissan dealers and Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers.
Welcome to Play to Win with former Falcons All-Pro defensive end Chuck Smith, Fantasy Football League previews with Adam Brown, game analysis with Nicky Williams, Play to Win expert Jeffrey the Ed Schechter, medical and injury update with Dr. Andrew Lalage, and your host, Atlanta sports veteran Bob Neal.
Our college football report is being brought to you by Mall of Georgia, Chrysler Dodge Jeep, and Kia Mall of Georgia. And we begin with the colleges. Dr. Lalage will be along a little later in the show as usual with his player medical report. And Jeffrey off this week, but we have his picks. He even sent some in to show to you. So we'll have that on the show. But right now joined by Adam Brown, of course, of fantasy football fame. Nicky Williams, who's been picking them very well this year. And our football expert, our go-to guy, Chuck Smith.
Thank you, Bob.
So let's get started, first of all, with the college football situation. And this is an interesting thing nationally. The Big 12, I'm going to call it the Big 12 week. They've got a lot of games going. First of all, the big game, which we'll break down on our showdown of the week, Notre Dame at FSU. But check this. Baylor at West Virginia, Kansas State at Oklahoma, Oklahoma State at TCU, and Stanford goes to Arizona State. But right now, let's go to the SEC and some very big games in the SEC. Of course, number 21, Texas A&M, and number 7, Alabama. Tennessee's at Ole Miss, Missouri
upset
at
alert.
Florida.
Excuse me, upset alert.
Upset alert, upset alert.
Something in my throat.
Already a prediction from
Something
Chuck.
in my throat.
And Kentucky at LSU. So let's look at it. Now let's break it all down. We'll get to that in
I
a
had
minute.
something in my throat.
Upset alert.
It's called
Write that
bias.
down.
You're choking
Nikki,
on a little bit of bias.
Start us on Texas A&M, Alabama.
You know, so Bama's playing with their season on the line this game.
Yep.
I think ticket prices are down on Bama's side for the first time in a long, very unusual. I don't think that's a sign of trouble for the fan base or ticket sales. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bama runs into some trouble with A&M. I could see an upset on the horizon. Kenny Hill, I think he's just as prolific as Manziel.
All right, how do you respond to that, and how do you see the game?
I mean, the guy just became a starter. I like Kenny Hill, but at this point, to me, this is all about Alabama establishing Alabama football. Run the ball with T.J. Yeldon. Blake Sims is, I think what has happened at Alabama a little bit, Lane Kiffin is maybe giving too much to a quarterback that's not quite ready for it. Bama's defense played pretty good against Arkansas. Bama runs the ball. I think Bama gets back to their winning ways.
I think it was time for a negative comment about Lane Kiffin. It's been too long that we've been praising him this year. And Adam Brown, take us to another big game that's big certainly for Will Muschamp of Florida, and that's Missouri in Gainesville versus Florida.
Both teams, Bob, have been really struggling this year. Florida and Missouri, offensively, defensively, and special teams-wise, have struggled. But I really feel that this is the time for both of them to turn around and show the nation what they're really all about.
What do you think they'll do with the quarterback situation?
Well, Jeff Driscoll and Treon Harris both are going to play this week. They've already said that. But Matty Malk, who had a horrible game last week, has a redshirt freshman named Eddie Prince from Lassiter High School that, if he struggles this week, could possibly be playing by the end of the game.
Well, interesting note. Chuck, how do you see the game?
Well, I see the game with two terrible quarterbacks, and it looks like to me that it starts and ends at the quarterback position. And right now, I'm going to tell you, Will Muschamp, if there's a comparison for Will Muschamp being on fire, it's a meteorite. It has entered the Earth's atmosphere and is just looking for a place to crash, Bob, because Jeff Driscoll has clearly affected Will Muschamp's career at the University of Florida.
All right, and now it is time for our college football showdown of the week, brought to you by the Georgia Lottery, and that showdown is number 5 Notre Dame and number 2 FSU. And to get us started on that is our 68 seconds with 680. Chuck Oliver with us this week, and he's going to set up the FSU Notre Dame game.
Thanks, guys. What a huge game down in Tallahassee. Notre Dame versus Florida State. You have everything. A couple of undefeated opponents. They're both 6-0, both in the top 5 heritage college football programs. The reality, though, once they kick off tonight, Notre Dame is going to be seriously outclassed on the field. Notre Dame's been having a tough time running the football all season long. Last Saturday, take that kind of out of the mix, what they did against North Carolina. The Tar Heels have one of the worst defenses you'll find on any Power 5 team. And Everett Golson, even the one really sure thing, the explosive part of the Irish offense the first 3 weeks, now they've got 9 turnovers the last 3 games, not good, and they are going to be in a world of trouble against a Seminoles team trying to keep their focus on the field, not off the field. Also, starting tailback Carlos Williams, he is going to come back from his own ankle injury. His replacement last week, Mario Pender, the starter against Syracuse, well, he's got an ankle injury of his own to deal with. I think they're both going to play against the Irish, and it is going to be a huge Florida State victory tonight.
Thank you, Chuck Oliver from 680 The Fan, with Chuck Smith now to break that game down a little bit more. Notre Dame at FSU, and it seems like everybody's talking about everything but this game. They're talking about Everett Golson when he had trouble a year ago.
Right.
And he's the quarterback at Notre Dame, and Jameis Winston. All the questions about Jameis. How do you break down the game?
Well, it starts and ends at the quarterback position. And what's really interesting in this one, Bob, is that Everett Golson back. And he's the best quarterback that Florida State has faced by a long shot. But let's look at Notre Dame. They haven't even played really a road game. This is going to be their first time on the road, so it's going to be a tough situation for them. But if I'm Notre Dame, I'm throwing the ball. I'm trying to get that deep because remember, Florida State secondary, they struggle a little bit. The D-line's been beat up. This is a game that I think Notre Dame has a good shot to come out and win, but it's going to start with the arm of Everett Golson.
Okay, as we've told you before, Jeffrey is out this week. He's going to have all his picks for us, however, on the show. But we decided to find a young talent to come on to help us with some of the predictions this week. So I'd like to introduce you to what I told you before, the world's youngest sportscaster, and he is none other than Sam Neill. Now, you're probably wondering, is there nepotism here? Hiya, Sam. How you doing? You doing all right?
Yes, sir. I'm good.
All right, good. Let's get started.
Let's roll, Sam.
There you go. All right, you got some picks for us, and we're going to start with Texas A&M, Alabama. How do you see it? And look right at the camera.
I think Alabama needs to get Omari Cooper the ball, but I think Texas A&M's Kenny Hill will get the Aggies the win this game.
All right, so Kenny Hill, you like him? Okay, Sam, let's do our next game, and that's when your dad's broadcasting on the SEC Network. It's Georgia at Arkansas. What do you think about that game?
Well, Papa, this is old school football. The top 2 rushing teams in the SEC.
Who do you think's going to win it?
I think the Razorbacks will snap their 15-game SEC losing streak and pull off the win against Georgia.
Wow.
I agree with you.
Okay, big game now. Notre Dame and Florida State. What do you think?
The Seminoles haven't been as good as last year, but with Jameis Winston, they're still undefeated. I think that the Noles should win this one by at least 28 points and begin thinking about another national championship.
Okay, last one. You're doing a great job with this. Tennessee at Ole Miss, your mother's alma mater.
Well, Tennessee's QB has been sacked the most in the SEC this year, but I think Ole Miss's Robert Condici will lead the Rebels to a win this game.
So he'll probably be sacking that Tennessee quarterback, huh?
Yes, Papa.
All right. Papa, this is Sam Neill, the world's youngest sportscaster.
Yeah,
Great
job.
job, Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
And by the way, Jeffrey doesn't want his job taken by an 8-year-old, so Jeffrey sent us in his picks.
Last week I said that Alabama's not that good, but they are good enough to give a very mediocre Texas A&M team a beating. Give the points with Alabama. Florida did everything but win the game last week, dropped passes, missed opportunities. Missouri is not that good. Give the points with Florida.
All right, Jeffrey, thanks. So we got Jeffrey's picks and Sam's picks. And by the way, don't go away, Sam, because you get paid in pizza on this show, Mellow Mushroom. And they come along next when we talk about Hometown Team Report, pizza for everybody. And his agent gets 10%.
We're still under construction at Kia Mall of Georgia, building a new dealership to serve you, Atlanta. But we've got too many cars in the way, and they've got to go. We've still got a great selection of 2015 Kia Optimas, starting at just $17,997. Unbelievable price on a new 2015 Kia Sorento LX, starting at only $19,997. All inventory drastically reduced, and lenders standing by with a 100% loan approval goal. Kia Mall of Georgia, 2.5 miles west of the Mall of Georgia, or online at lovemykia.com.
Introducing the new Walking Dead Scratcher from the Georgia Lottery. With a chance to win up to $50,000. You'd better get them before they get you.
Right after I got hurt in my car wreck, the other guy's insurance company offered to fix my car, but they only offered me $750 for my injuries. And then they wanted me to sign this.
Don't sign anything until you've talked to me. I'm Attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm. you may be giving up tens of thousands of dollars by signing the insurance company's release form. Call me.
Their insurance company offered to fix my car and offer me this check for $1,000.
Don't take that check. Let me get you the money you deserve. Call in the strong arm.
Call attorney John Foy, the strong arm.
Your life moves fast, so when your plumbing goes bad, we know you want it fixed fast. I'm Brian Estes, inviting you to see what we can provide with our plumbing services. We're dedicated to the same high standards of quality we've held ourselves to since 1949. From leak repairs to water pressure, from water heaters to toilet issues. Estes is dependable, proven, and ready to help. Call Estes and we'll fix it at the speed of light.
We're Estes Services. We'll fix it at the speed of life.
Hometown Team Report is being brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers, bringing a higher order of pizza to Atlanta for 40 years.
Do I smell pizza? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because Mellow Mushroom brings you our hometown team report. And let's start with the games of our hometown teams. Number 10, Georgia goes to Arkansas. And remember, Sam Neal, the 8-year-old, picked Arkansas in that one. Georgia Tech goes to North Carolina. Falcons at Ravens. Let's get started, first of all, with Georgia, Arkansas. And as we start with that, Nikki, the first thing that I want to tell everybody is we tape this show. Todd Gurley is not playing for Georgia, and Jameis Winston is playing for Florida State. That's as we tape this show. Who knows what will happen right up to game time. So let's start, first of all, with the Georgia-Arkansas game. How do you see it?
Sorry, Bop Pop. I'm going to disagree with little Sam because the Bulldogs have already proven they can go in without Gurley and they can kill a team. They can do it again this week in Little Rock. I don't see why not. UGA clearly owns the edge on defense.
Well, I see it, Bob. I think it's going to be really between the coordinators. I think Rob Smith, he's done a masterful job down there at Arkansas, and can he stop Nick Chubb? I think it shows up on both sides of the ball. Georgia's defensive coordinator is going to have to stop one of the best running attacks in the game. Whoever stops the run is going to win the game.
All right, and Georgia Tech goes to North Carolina, Adam.
North Carolina is on a 4-game losing streak right now, which they've given up 70 points, 50 points, 34 points, and 50 points. Georgia Tech has the 8th rated running offense in the country, and North Carolina has the 120th rated defense in the entire country. This doesn't look promising for Carolina.
All right, Georgia Tech rolls according to Adam. Now let's talk about the Falcons. In a world of hurt at 2-4, and the Falcons don't come back to the Georgia Dome to play until I don't know when, sometime in late November. Right. So let's talk about that game. They play at Baltimore this week.
Well, the number one rule for the Falcons is you got to make plays. That's the number one rule for each position. The receivers, you got to catch the ball. Defensive line, you got to stop the run. Quarterback, got to throw in rhythm. Offensive line, you got to protect. There's so many keys to the Falcons to win that it's just going to be tough, but they got to be able to run the ball and protect the quarterback. That is the key. They're an offensive-driven team.
All right, now it's time for Jeffrey's pick. Remember, he's not with us this week, but he sent in his picks anyway, and here he is.
Ding, 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 ding. Trap alert, trap alert. All hands off Georgia. Georgia played great last week. Now they go to Arkansas. It has done everything but win games, played great ball. Arkansas is going to give Georgia a little bit of a beating. Take the points with Arkansas. I hate giving points on the road, especially with Georgia Tech, but North Carolina has no defense. Give the points with Georgia Tech. My version of fantasy football is that if the Falcons win 7 games, that's a fantasy. The Ravens should just give them a beating, pick up where they left off against Tampa. Give the points with the Ravens.
All right, there you go, Jeffrey, with your picks.
I hate he's not here right now to argue with.
He is so funny.
I know, he's on the road. He just sent those in. And so now, because it's sponsored by Mellow Mushroom, we have another visitor again. It's Victor from the Kennesaw store, right?
That's right.
And a couple of pizzas.
You,
wait a minute. I think these are like special pizzas. I want to show these. Watch this. Okay, ready?
Oh, wow. Hey,
look at that.
Dogs.
That's for Nikki right there. That's for Nikki.
Good dog.
Glory to Georgia. All right, now,
awesome.
Let's see what this one is. Let's see. Hometown team report, Atlanta Falcons, former All-Pro Chuck Smith. And here we have, that's the Falcons logo.
I like that. Excellent job.
How about that?
Nice.
That's
From
awesome.
Mellow Mushroom. You are the man.
You're the man.
All right, pass
Now
these
let
down.
me eat it.
Don't eat them yet.
The Wizard, can you make me real so I can eat real Mellow Mushroom pizza instead of cartoon pizza?
Stand back. Here we go. Alakazam! Wiggity stickity poof!
I'm still a cartoon.
Then that'd be a no.
Everyone wants real Mellow Mushroom pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness.
Wiggity stickity poof.
Mellow Mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
Nissan Sentra with Nissan Connect.
Love is like
Man, this doesn't look like Vegas.
It's easy to lose yourself, but nearly impossible to get lost. Choose Sentra just $149 per month, or Ultima only $189 per month.
Totally clicks to the heart.
Shop ChooseNissan.com. Innovation that excites.
Today's Player Medical Report is being brought to you by Piedmont Healthcare, now a certified member of the MD Anderson Cancer Network.
Joined now by Dr. Andrew Lalage, who is the Chief Medical Officer of the Radiology Group and the creator of InsideInjuries.com, an interesting site you should check out. And I want to talk to you, first of all, about a couple of NFL stars who have ankle injuries. Seems like I've heard that before.
Yes, yes, absolutely. There is an epidemic of rolled ankles in the NFL. Calvin Johnson and Tom Brady both have almost the identical same injury. A rolled ankle is the ligaments on the outside of the ankle that stabilize the whole ankle. Calvin Johnson really needs to have stability as a wide receiver. Tom Brady, not so much. Tom Brady's going to start. Calvin Johnson, be aware, like I said before, if he starts, do not start him.
And it's a question. All right, let's go to the grades. First of all, Cam Newton, what's the latest?
Cam Newton's been on my board for a long time. He started out as an A, now he's down to the B, and if he gets one more injury, he's down to almost probably a C. Be careful to start him this week.
All right, Toby Gerhart.
Toby Gerhart is down to a B-. We call this the weight-bearing double negative. He has an ankle and a foot injury on the same side, and I'll be very, very wary of starting him this week.
All right, how about Giovanni Barnard?
I would start him, but just be aware of his new shoulder injury with an ankle instability injury earlier this year.
All right, and finally, Jimmy Graham.
So Jimmy Graham has a pretty significant shoulder sprain. He started out as an A on my board, and now he's all the way down to a B-. A lot of people like him as a tight end. I will be very, very scared to start him this week. I would recommend not starting him.
All right, and we'll find out what Adam thinks about the fantasy football when we come back with Adam Brown and Fantasy Football. Thanks, Doc. We'll see you again next week, and we'll be right back.
There are plenty of choices when it comes to Medicare. So why not choose the plan backed by the two local leaders in healthcare that have been taking care of you for years? Piedmont Wellstar Medicare Choice HMO is a comprehensive Medicare Advantage plan that includes hospital care, doctor visits, and prescription drug costs, all for nothing more than you already pay for your Part B premium. It even comes with enhanced features to help keep you well. So take the first step. Call now to get your free Piedmont Wellstar Medicare Choice Enrollment Kit. It includes detailed benefit information, a full physician directory, and easy-to-follow steps to get enrolled. There's no obligation, so call today to get your free kit. There's a lot to consider when it comes to Medicare. Make a fresh choice. Piedmont Wellstar Medicare Choice. Medicare coverage backed by the doctors and nurses of Piedmont and Wellstar. Call today to get your free information and enrollment kit.
It's an October Festival of Savings going on now at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. No tricks, just a treat of a price on the 2014 Ram Crew Cab. Save $10,000 off. Sale priced at only $25,999. A super deal on a 2014 Dodge Charger. Take $9,000 off MSRP. And during Chrysler's Great American Drive event, get $6,000 off MSRP on a new 2015 Chrysler 200. The October Festival of Savings event at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or online at yourdodge.com.
Today's injury report is brought to you by John Foy and Associates. If you've been injured in an accident, be sure to call John Foy, the strong arm.
All right, Dr. Lalage had our player medical report, and now the NFL list of injuries. And boy, last week was kind of a mash unit for the NFL. You see here, out of the 7 we have listed, 6 of those players are out. Calvin Johnson, with that ankle sprain, has not practiced very much this week. If he plays, he probably won't be all that effective. And that's the injury report brought to you by John Foy and Associates. And now it's time to bring in Adam for our Who's Hot and Who's Cold Fantasy Report, presented by SD Services. And we're going to start first with the quarterbacks. Who's hot? And let's get started on what you think here.
Aaron Rodgers, everybody knows, is a hot quarterback, but he's red hot right now with 10 touchdowns and no interceptions his past 3 games.
All right, hot running backs.
DeMarco Murray with the Dallas Cowboys. The team's hot. He's red hot. 6 100-yard rushing games in his first 6 games. The Giants are giving up 104 yards per game to opposing running backs.
All right, Pittsburgh has a really hot wide receiver, I see.
Antonio Brown. This is only the 3rd home game for Pittsburgh. In the previous 2, Brown has 12 catches for 247 and 3 touchdowns. He's having a massive season.
And Falcon fans are going to love this as we go to Who's Cold. One of the players who's cold is Steven Jackson.
Steven Jackson's having an awful season, and he's becoming a non-factor in fantasy football formats. For sleepers, look, Brian Hoyer is having a really nice season for Cleveland. The Jags defense, who they're playing this week, has given up 12 touchdowns through the air, and quite frankly, 313.8 yards average per game to opposing quarterbacks. Brian Hoyer should be really, really hot this week.
Great job once again.
Thank you. Good luck, everybody.
Adam Brown and the Fantasy Football Report. Back with the NFL in a minute.
Right after I got hurt in my car wreck, the other guy's insurance company offered to fix my car, but they only offered me $750 for my injuries, and then they wanted me to sign this.
Don't sign anything until you've talked to me. I'm attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm. You may be giving up tens of thousands of dollars by signing the insurance company's release form. Call me.
That same day, the insurance company said they will fix my car and offered me this check for $600.
Don't take that check. Let me get you the money you deserve. Call in the Strong Arm.
Your life moves fast, so when you want it fixed, we know you want it fixed fast. I'm Tommy Estes, and we'll fix it at the speed of light. Go to EstesAir.com and see what we can do for you with our heating and air residential services. Your factory authorized carrier dealer is dependable, proven, and ready to help. Save energy and money with a dual fuel system from Estes Services.
We're Estes Services. We'll fix it at the speed of light.
The NFL Report is brought to you by the Greater Atlanta Nissan dealers. Innovation that excites.
All right, NFL big games. Notice that New Orleans and Carolina, two NFC teams with the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC South, are away as the Falcons are at Baltimore. Seattle, St. Louis, and Cincinnati at Indianapolis. And let's start with Seattle, St. Louis, Nikki Williams.
Both these teams are coming off of some bitter losses last week. Seattle, though, I don't know. They're without three of their starters on Sunday, so it's nice for them to have a little bit of a lighter game, if you will. I still think Seattle takes the win over St. Louis.
All right, what do you think about the game? Is it a trap game for Seattle?
No, I don't think it's a trap game because, number one, St. Louis made the biggest mistake arguably in the NFL last year, bringing Greg Williams in as a defensive coordinator. They can't stop anyone defensively. Seattle now is going to run the ball with Marshawn Lynch because that's who they are. Beast mode, be physical. They've gotten away from that, Bob, so I think they're going to kind of go back to that recipe.
All right, a game I can't wait to see is San Francisco at Denver. I mean, it's going to be a big one. Let's start with Adam Brown on how you see that game.
What a great primetime game Sunday night. Peyton Manning is 2 touchdowns away from setting the all-time passing mark for touchdowns in a career over Brett Favre. He gets it Sunday night, guaranteed, with Julius Thomas, with Demaryius Thomas, with Emmanuel Sanders, with Wes Welker. He's going to have 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Wow, 4 or 5. How do you see the game? Is San Francisco capable of winning? They're on the road.
And see, the thing I'll say about San Fran, they are a sledgehammer team on offense and defense. Maybe one of the most underrated players of this generation might be Frank Gore, the Frisco running back. Mm-hmm. They can run the ball, and that's one of the things about Denver. Denver's soft to me, and that's what showed up in the Super Bowl. I think Frisco has as good a chance to win, but I do like me some DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller on Denver's defense, but I like that sledgehammer in San Fran.
10 sacks so far.
When he does that, everybody in here jumps. When Chuck counts his fist. All right, Jeffrey, as we said, is not with us in studio this week, but he did send in his picks, and here they are for the NFL.
Seattle lost to Dallas. Hasn't looked that good this year. I think they're more interested in tackling the ball and causing a fumble than tackling the players. I think they'll get it right this week against a very bad St. Louis team. Give the points with Seattle. San Fran at Denver, I love Frisco with points. They're playing good ball. Their quarterback is dangerous. They got a great offense, excellent defense. Take the points with San Francisco.
If you hadn't had enough of Jeffrey the Ed Schechter, stay with us because next is the lightning round.
We gave people a mind-blowing ride in what they thought was our most advanced Altima race car. Then, we just blew their minds.
It's just crazy that this is like the car. I was just it.
The 2014 Nissan Altima with blind spot warning, advanced drive assist, and zero-gravity seats. Lease today just $189 per month, or get 0% APR for up to 60 months. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Nissan, innovation that excites.
This is the dream, people. You men will... Is that...
Sir, yes, sir. He's a fire-breathing goat, sir.
Goats can't fly planes. Wow. Give it a shot.
Kevin, you okay up there?
You could have just asked me what the red button does.
Live out your dreams. Win up to $300,000 playing Keno with the all-new Bullseye.
Why can't I have a slice of yours?
You're a cartoon. You can only have cartoon pizza.
It's not fair.
Look, this pie is 100% real, and you're colored ink. It's physics, man.
Well, can you buy me a beer?
I can buy you a cartoon beer. Are you single?
It's surprise.
Everyone wants real mellow mushroom pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness. Mellow mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
All right, Jeffrey the Edge Schechter, by the way, is 64-35 on the season. Holy cow. Not with us on set this week, but he sent in his picks, and it's time for the lightning round.
Boston College is a tough, scrappy team. Clemson has a history of losing games like this on the road. Take the points with Boston College. Virginia has a strong defense. They're improving this year. I like them against Duke. Take the points. LSU, lucky to win last week. Take the points with the Wildcats. Chicago's playing good, but I think Miami's going to push them around. Take the points with Miami. Dallas is excellent. I never thought I would say this. I couldn't believe I was watching a professional team last Sunday night when the Giants played. Give the points with the Cowboys. Eventually, the Raiders will win a game this season, but not this week. Arizona will shut them down. Give the points with the Cardinals.
All right, Dr. Lalage, you usually have a medical sleeper for us. How about this week?
Yep, so Jeremy Hill, the A-grade running back that's left for the Bengals. Giovanni Bernard's a little limited, so he should, he should have a good game this week.
Pizza delivery!
Oh, we're hungry.
This is Sam Neill, who did some picks earlier, and we've got the pizza. Did you get any of this yet? Of course he did. By the way, thanks for watching the show on behalf of all of us. Jeffrey will be back next week. Of course, Dr. Lalage, Adam, Nikki, Chuck, and Sam. Sam is number 85 in your program, number 1 in your heart. Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
Play to Win has been brought to you by John Foy and Associates and Kia Mall of Georgia and Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep.